Welcome to A Dash of Life podcast, where every episode brings you a touch of spirit, a pinch of passion, and a zest for life.
Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of A Dash of Life podcast. This episode is going to be focused on empathizing or understanding the plights of others. I wanted to do this episode because I feel like, from just a human experience as well as from a lens of humanity, that I feel like we need to understand what others' experiences are throughout this lifetime. And I feel that if we do that and if we focus on that, then one, we will have a more compassionate world. But then two, also, we might find ourselves in a position where we can help someone. And also, I believe it creates meaningful connections with our communities. If we do attempt to understand others' struggles in life, I do believe that it creates and it helps us see beyond our own experience, our own environment, and it fosters an environment that is centered around kindness and compassion, and it reduces judgment. If you have the understanding, or if you take the time to understand another person's plight or another person's struggle, then it one lets them know that they may not be alone. A lot of us experience the same types of struggles. And it allows them to see that one, they are not alone, but also that someone else can appreciate what they're going through and that they're not alone. Life is hard enough as it is, and it costs nothing to care. All right, so I'm excited for this episode. I can't wait to get into this with you. And thank you again for tuning in. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching on one of the podcasts outlets, thank you so much for joining me. I mentioned it, but if we attempt to understand the plights of other people, then it invites us to build stronger communities. In particular, if you are in politics and you are serving in a political role, it doesn't matter what branch, but if you are serving in a political role, then you should understand your constituents' plights. You should understand your constituents' struggles so that you can help better and make our processes and our laws help the American people. But I'm not getting into politics. I am not getting into politics. But it does. It unites people. It fosters an environment where there are shared goals for people. I don't know. I don't know. I sometimes feel like people think that if they are not experiencing a problem, or they haven't had to experience a certain type of problem in their lives, then as long as it's not affecting them, then they don't worry about it. And it's none of their business. And whoever it is impacting, they need to worry about it. But I think that's kind of backwards thinking. Um, just from a humanity perspective, I think we owe it to others to understand, to help others, and to, just reach for something outside of ourselves. And I think if we do that and we do try to understand others' plights, then that gives us a foundation and a basis to be able to do that. And if we do that, then that encourages growth within our own selves. It teaches us how to be empathetic. It teaches us how to be patient and have humility. We're not always on top, right? And there might be a time in your life where you were struggling. And if not, God bless you. If you've had a great transfer of wealth within your family and things like that, and you haven't had to struggle, well, congratulations to you. But the majority of us are not always in that type of scenario. So I don't know. I just feel like it makes us better people when we try to understand what others are going through. If we attempt to, and I kind of hit on it already, but if we attempt to understand the plights of other people, then that advocates for justice and equity. We have an equity problem in the United States across the board, just across the board. I think some people's perspective is, oh, well, it's fair game. Everybody has a chance to succeed if they work hard. Well, I disagree with that. I do not subscribe to that because there are systems in place in the United States where they were created to keep others behind, despite the laws and everything. And so if you have that mindset, you need to talk to some people about their own experience in the United States and how difficult it is to obtain a corporate position, how difficult it is to graduate high school, how difficult it is to graduate college or graduate college debt free. A lot of people don't have those experiences. And so if you find yourself in that kind of mindset where you're just like, oh, everybody has equal access, they can work hard, no, it doesn't work like that. So if you see like a Black or brown person high up in a company, you better believe they had to jump over an astronomical amount of hurdles to get there. It doesn't come easy. And I'm not saying like we don't have to work hard. We all have to work hard. But some of us have to work 10 times harder just to achieve the same results. So keep that in mind as you continue to interact with others and see people around your organizations. We all have not had the same journey to get there. Some may have had it much, much easier. So if we center that around equity and justice, then it equips us to support policies and actions that create those fair opportunities for all people, and just makes it so that we can all achieve the goal that we set out to. We all have our own talents, right? I talked about this earlier in the podcast. We all have our own talents. We all have our own gifts. And so if we cannot, because of systemic policies and things like that, if we can't bring those gifts and talents to the rest of the world, then I think we are in trouble with that. And we are doing ourselves a disservice completely. So keep that in mind as you continue to walk through this journey that we call life. But there's got to be some equitable appreciation for policies and procedures and things like that. When we try to understand other people's plights, it reflects on humanity. I mentioned it in the last episode that essentially all of us experience the same thing. We experience the same pain. We experience the same joy. And that makes us human. That gives us a human connection. And if we understand other struggles, despite our differences, because we are essentially the same, but we're different, then that creates a sense of community. It connects us in our shared human experience. And we can use our experiences, our shared experiences, to further build our communities. If you think about it, probably 95% of us want the same thing. You know, we don't want anybody messing with our stuff. We want to be able to pay our bills. We want to be able to have the same opportunities. Just make sure that our families are doing well. And that in itself makes us the same, even though we come from different cultural backgrounds, even though we come from different financial backgrounds. We essentially all want the same. Leave us alone. Let us be free. Let us be happy. Let us take care of what we need to from an equitable standpoint, and we'll be good. So keep that in mind as well. I really do believe that we have a duty to understand the plights of other people. And, if you're a Christian, I would touch on the spiritual aspect of this, but if you are a Christian, you should. That's part of your job of being here on earth, is to understand people, to love people as they are, and to help one another. It's part of our network, part of our weaving, our human weaving. I think we have to be intentional about this as well. We could live in our own little bubble and not have a problem, but we do, I feel like, have to be intentional about getting access or being in environments where people are struggling. Okay, Shalon, that all sounds good, but how do we do this then? We definitely have to, and I talked about this previously as well, but not in this context, but I have talked about active listening. We have two ears for a reason, right? And so when we practice active listening, we don't interrupt, we don't offer solutions. What we are doing when we are practicing active listening is we are listening to that person. The majority of people just want to be heard, right? A lot of times people don't need anything from you. They just need somebody to listen to them. And we frequently get this messed up because we want to listen to respond, as well as instead of listening just to listen and hear what they are saying so that we could empathize with their situation, right? We have to give people the space to share their stories from a non-judgmental perspective. Like, it's not up to us to judge anyone, but we do it all the time, just probably by default. And I'm not harping on people and I'm not getting on people, but just from our human experience, we pass judgment when we see people and when we first meet them. But from this context, in this aspect, really what I'm trying to get at is that the majority of people just want someone to listen to them. You may not need to offer up a solution. That might not be what they're asking for. It's just to have somebody listen to them and get it out. It's a cathartic experience. And then they release it. And they also get rid of that energy that is attached to it, that they've been holding on to and carrying for a while, probably. As you are interacting with others, you can ask thoughtful questions to further understand their experience and what they have been going through or what they are going through. You can also give them space to expand on what they're talking about. I feel like this is where those deeper connections take place. When you're having a dialogue with someone and you are listening to them, and if they're finished, they're finished. That's when you can ask and say, like, what is it that you need from me? But when we do have those interactions like that, we create those deeper connections and trusting relationships, right? There's such a concern, with trust and people having their trust broken by others. And so when you find somebody that you can talk to confidentially and be able to open up, hold on to them, do as much as you can to keep that relationship. We have to seek knowledge. I think I'm going to do another episode on seeking knowledge. I have my own concerns now at this point, but uh, if we seek knowledge about, certain types of people or certain types of issues that people experience, we certainly will have a different perspective, right? You can't live through life just in your own space, not going anywhere, not if you are living. I'm going to say, if you are living free, you cannot stay in your own little bubble, your own little environment, and expect that you're going to gain different perspectives. So you can watch a documentary. I love watching documentaries, and there's so much. There's like a wealth of information in documentaries. It depends on what you're watching, but I love to watch documentaries. You can attend a seminar, read some books. I don't know, does anybody read anymore? I do. I have like 4 or 5 books that I'm reading right now, but um, you can go to the library and get some free books and read the newspaper, just anything that provides additional knowledge that will help you understand how people experience life. It's just that simple. I will forever be a fan of diversity. Um, and I'm not just talking about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That I could probably do a whole separate episode on that. But I kind of touched on it already about DEI earlier. But really, my point right now is to say that when you have a diverse group of acquaintances, they don't have to be friends, but people that you chill with, they're coming with a different perspective, right? And if you have a group of people around you and you all have the same thing in common and you're all from like the same type of group and you don't have somebody different that you are around, then you're getting close to having like a one track mindset and a one track kind of experience. So when you have people that are from different backgrounds that that you're around frequently, that certainly will allow you to create those types of connections where you are understanding from a different perspective how people experience life. I think for this, you just have to care, right? Like, and I'm not saying like get deeply involved with people's issues, but just having an understanding that not everybody experiences life the same is probably a basis and a first step. If you don't acknowledge that people have different experiences in this world, in this life, then you're one of those bubble people. Like you are living in a bubble. How else can we do this? We can volunteer. There are lots of organizations out there that provide help to those that are in need, support, marginalized people, if you will. I hate to say that. Like, I don't like to say minorities. Minority what? What does that mean? Uh, I really don't like to refer to people as minorities. Because if you think about it, what are they minor to? I'm gonna keep it like, I'm gonna keep it there. What are they minor to? Minor to what? If you like, I don't really like to get into politics and things like that, but if you support white supremacy, then you are definitely misinformed on how humanity started and everything, and who was here first, stuff like that. No, I do not and will not call people minorities, because then you're saying that they're inferior. Inferior to what? A lot of people who are categorized as such, they're bright, they're smarter than other people. It doesn't mean that they're not capable. So I just don't even like to refer to people as minority. I hate that. It bothers me so much. We have one race. That's the other thing that bothers me too. And I'm going off on a tangent here, but I gotta say it. We have one human race. There is one human race. And so on all these job applications and all of that, it bothers me to no end to say that, oh, I'm of the black race, I'm of a white race. What? No, that's incorrect. We have one human race. That's it. Do we have cultural differences? Of course. We have cultural differences, but we don't have 4 different races in the world, 5 different races in the world. We don't have multiple races in the world. We have one. It's the human race. All right, let me get off my soapbox on that. But we have to understand that we have one human race. That's it. With multiple people who have cultural differences. It doesn't mean they're less than. It doesn't mean that they are inferior to. Can you tell? Can you tell I'm passionate about that? I'm going to get off it, okay? So that we can keep going, because I don't have much time left. But when you volunteerism, I feel like, provides an aspect of humility. When I was a CNA, I worked in a nursing home, and one thing that I feel like nursing homes probably need, and they probably still need to this day, is like people to come in and volunteer to feed people. I remember us like going, table to table and trying to keep people fed at an appropriate speed. And, we had to switch out all the residents for dinner multiple times. So we had multiple dinner times. I think there were like 3 shifts of dinners, or 3 rounds of dinners, if you will. And so, each shift might have been 30 minutes. So you had 30 minutes to ensure all your residents were fed and then get them ready for bed, things like that. So it was kind of a round robin kind of thing with making sure everyone was fed. But, if you volunteer for any kind of organization that is helping people, and I certainly feel like that gives us that true humility and helps us be humble, because you never know how people experience life, and you never know how what you're doing will help them. Another way we can do is practicing empathy. When you empathize with somebody, You have the ability to put yourself in their situation, in their shoes, and understand, what through their lens or their experience, how they're experiencing life. And there's some compassion in there. I always say, like, we have to, one, give ourselves compassion, but we also have to give others compassion. And this is how we change the world, right? Um, and lastly, I'm going to touch on is give people grace. Give people grace. I think we all struggle at one point in our lives, and life is a journey, and we have our ups and downs. And when people are in their valleys, all they need is for people just to give them grace. And, just in understanding that, hey, I've been there too before. And there's no judgment. I am passing over you. You know, here's maybe what I can do. I can offer to spend time with you, to let you vent. Or I can offer to watch your kids for a little bit so you can go do your own thing, that kind of thing. And I think when we do that and we give people grace, we just strengthen our communities that much more. All right, so I know we're probably at time, and really, I thank you for tuning in, but I want to say, and I want to finish off with saying that when we understand the plights of others, it allows us to enrich our lives and also gives us the power to be instruments of change. And as Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And another African proverb, it takes a village. It really does take a village. And when we allow the village to all be as they are, we have a very strong community. All right, so that's all I have. I thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next episode of A Dash of Life. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of A Dash of Life podcast. I hope today's conversation added a touch of spirit, a pinch of passion, and a zest for life to your day.